afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. It's our April 28, 2022 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. We're going to start out by asking the clerk to conduct roll call.
Catherine Townsend.
Present.
Ellen Patton.
Here.
John Peterson.
Here.
Dennis Warren.
Here.
Jane Haynes.
Here.
Yvette Brown.
Here.
Dudley Bates.
Thank you. Next, we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance. That'll be followed by the swearing in of the witnesses. So if you're here to testify, either as a respondent or on any behalf, please remain standing after we conduct our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody testifying, if you could remain standing and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth? Thank you.
I'm going to recommend, as we ordinarily do, moving the cases of those that are present to the front of the line on our agenda, and then if I can get a motion on that, and then we'll do those cases first and follow up with whatever is remaining. That would be moving case number 22, 22-24 CEB. It's on page 2. Corey M. Johnson would be first up. Case number 22-25 CEB. Netafali Rivera Lopez and Maria Pina Perez. Which will be followed by case number on page 5, 21-66 CEB, Michael Saberio. Those are the cases where the respondents are present. Can I get a motion to revise the agenda to take those cases first?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Ms. Haynes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Just one more addition. We have number 2102, which is on page 3, Adudo, A-D-U-D-O. So that'll be your last one for respondents present.
So that would be added to the list of cases to be heard first. 21-02-CEB, Peter and LaShonda A. Adudo.
No, you're
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Can you read the statement?
Yep. Good afternoon and welcome to the April 28, 2022 hearing of the Seminole County Code Enforcement Board. Before we begin, I'd like to advise everyone about the procedures that govern appearances before the Code Enforcement Board. This meeting is open to the public under Florida's Government and Sunshine Law. Therefore, every effort will be made to hear all persons having relevant evidence or arguments to offer. It is required that every person who appears before the Code Enforcement Board needs to be registered with the clerk of the Code Enforcement Board. The cases where the respondents are present and signed in will be heard first. You will be sworn in or affirmed by the clerk to the Code Enforcement Board. Once all cases where the respondents are present have been heard, the Code Enforcement Board will hear the remaining cases that appear on the agenda. When your case is called, please be seated at the table reserved for the respondents, and that's right up here with those two seats. The county will present their case, and then the respondents will be allowed to present their case. Additionally, please limit your comments to only information relating to this case. Each party may question witnesses offered on behalf of the other party. Additionally, staff members may question those appearing before the Code Enforcement Board. The Code Enforcement Board will then make their decision based upon the evidence and testimony as presented by both parties. All proceedings before the Code Enforcement Board are electronically recorded. Please speak directly into the microphone at the center of the table and state your name clearly before presenting your case. Should you need assistance during the hearing, should you need assistance due to a hearing impairment or a language barrier, please inform the clerk upon registration. Cell phones and other electronic devices are to be turned off or silenced while inside the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. So as I explained there, when you hear your name called, you'll come up to this table right here. Code enforcement officers are going to present their case. You'll have the opportunity to present yours. And keep in mind that you're presenting to the board right here. These folks are going to make the decision today, and I can just give you a little advice. They're all about compliance. That's what they're looking for, is compliance to whatever the violation is. So keep that in the back of your head. And that being said, we'll go ahead and start. That'll bring us to agenda item number 3 on page 2, case number 22-24 CEB Corey M. Johnson, 840 Tropical Avenue, Chiliota, Florida, 32766. If that's you, have a seat in one of those chairs there. And state your name when you sit down, please.
Corey M. Johnson.
Thank you. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I am submitting a copy of the PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2224 CEB Corey M. Johnson, located at 840 Tropical Avenue in Seminole County. Violation charge is Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 11, Section 30.182, uses permitted. Operating a landscaping business is not a permitted use in an R1 zoning district. My initial inspection was on December 8th, 2021, with notice to respondent on December 15th, 2021, and January 7th, 2022, with compliance dates of January 4th, 2022, and January 22nd, 2022, with multiple follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The results of my inspection is a violation of heavy equipment and landscaping supplies remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on December 8th, 2021. These photos were taken on December 8th, 2021 as well. These photos were taken on January 6th, 2022. These photos were taken on January 24th, 2022. These photos were taken on the same date. These photos were taken on the day of posting on April 14th, 2022. This photo is of the posting on the same date. These photos were taken yesterday. The suggested recommendation is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2224 CEB. It is determined that the respondent, Corey M. Johnson, is the owner of record located at 840 Tropical Avenue in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 11, Section 30.182, uses unpermitted. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of May 16, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove all landscaping supplies and heavy equipment from the property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Officer Hill? Seeing none, all right, Mr. Johnson, this is your opportunity to present whatever you'd like to present in regards to this violation.
Yes, sir. So I am the general manager of a company called Roots Outdoor Development. I'm not the owner. We parked some of the vehicles and some of the equipment at my property because multiple employees of the business live close by me. So we didn't have adequate parking at our facility at the time to store all of the trailers and trucks and so forth. As well, people drive things back to their personal house. So since the first violation, all of the heavy equipment, with exception to one skid steer, has been removed. And the reason that skid steer has not been removed is because we are on back order. The part that it needs is on back order and has been on back order since COVID. So there's absolutely no way for me to get that machine fixed and moved in any time frame, because I can't get a time frame on the part from the manufacturer. As far as some of the slides that I saw on the PowerPoint and have in this packet, per the verbiage and the violation that I received, the signage was not supposed to be in the front yard. I then moved the sign to the backyard. These signs are basically used when we complete a project. We'll insert the sign. It's no bigger than a real estate sign into someone's yard to advertise to potential clients. So I moved it to the backyard. Had I known that I could not have it anywhere on the property, I would have just taken it to the office. So May 16th, I don't see a problem with that as far as having the plants and that one sign gone, but the Bobcat is my issue, because it will not operate. It has a lockout function on it, and the wiring harness and the control chip that I'm waiting on is, like I said, has been on back order since 2019, or 2020.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Johnson, do you think that with all that equipment you have around there and other places, that you can't pick that up and put it on a trailer?
No, sir. Nothing we have has the capacity to live. That's an 11,500 pound machine. Absolutely nothing that we own, the company owns, has the capacity to vertically lift it and rotate it and put it on a machine. I would have to hire a crane, basically, at my house, as well as the drop-off location wherever I take the machine. And we do have an office over at 46 and 415 Lake Murray Boulevard off of Cameron Avenue there. So I do have a place to take it. The problem is that the electronics won't allow it to move. It's got the hydraulic system completely locked out. There's no way to override it. I've had 5 different mechanics come out, so.
Officer Hill, those photos that you showed had a lot of stuff on there. He's saying there's one Bobcat that's left, and I think you said you went out there this morning. Is that an accurate description in your mind, that there's one Bobcat, or is there still a lot of stuff out there?
It's pretty much still the one Bobcat. There are different plants that keep coming back and forth because they're a landscaping business. In reference to the signage, though, in the notice of violation, it did state that signage cannot exceed 1 square foot and must be attached to the residence. So after when I went back for my second inspection, the sign was removed from the front of the property, because at first it was in front of the property. Then it was totally gone, and then it kind of just popped up amongst those plants right there. So it was in the notice of violation prior.
Yeah, it was probably, the sign was taken to a job and then returned to the residence.
I think the problem this board's going to run into is you haven't, and it sounds like you're not able to give a date of compliance, and the fact that you can't get parts, I'm not sure is going to wash with what they're tasked to do. So, I'll leave that up to them, but I'm thinking you need to find a way to get that Bobcat out of there.
Okay, so on my violation, it specifically states, the violation charged is specifically, number 1, operating a landscaping business is not a permitted use in an R1 zoning district. So what does that all include? So that means I can't have any potted plants on my property. I can't have trucks. I can't have anything.
Correct.
Well, I mean,
Because this is zoned residential.
Right, right, I
If
know.
it was zoned commercial
Understood,
or agricultural, you could have the plants there,
ma'am.
but unfortunately, it is zoned residential.
okay, so the plants as well
Yeah.
need to go. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that's not an issue. We can get that taken care of. We'll get the overhead irrigation gone.
I mean, you can have an open, I mean, you can have that enclosed trailer there. That's not an issue. It
Yeah, because
doesn't have.
that's a storage shed is
Right.
what that is.
Right, and it
That's what it's
doesn't have
used for.
your landscaping name, I mean, you
Doesn't
can
have
have
a
your trailer
logo.
there, and even if it had your landscaping name, I mean, you could have that there. It's just that the supplies that go back and forth to your jobs are not permitted along with
Okay.
heavy equipment.
Okay.
Mr. Hill, if that Bobcat is gone, or is he in compliance?
He would need to remove the Bobcat and,
plants and
and the plants. And then the sign, if he just put it away somewhere, I mean, if he uses it
Yeah,
for
I'll put it
job
in my
sites or
garage.
whatever, just put it in the trailer or like you said, the garage. Be
And
good.
as long as, unlike I've heard the plants, they don't keep showing back up, correct?
Correct, because there's different ones, so obviously they're being used for job sites.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's been in and out with the plant material.
Do you have a date you would like to ask the board to consider for you to get in compliance, which you heard what it takes to get in compliance?
Well, again, I don't really have a informative date to give you if I don't have a date that I can get the part needed to fix the machine. So I guess I'm going to leave it up to the board to decipher a fair compliance date.
Sir, how long would it take you to hire with the equipment you need to move the Bobcat?
30
Probably
days.
your boss to hire it.
30
It sounds like
days.
It's your boss's problem.
No, it's owned personally by me. So I used to own a business that I sold in 2018, and then I took a position as a general manager for this company in 2019. So that machine is owned by me as a person. So I don't see is there a part written in the code that we're not allowed to have boats, stuff like that? I mean, or is it just because it's considered a heavy commercial piece of equipment?
You can have boats, you can have an RV, you can have the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, those are nothing over 2 axles or 2 tons.
Nothing over 2 axles or 2 tons, okay.
But commercial equipment that, like the
Yeah, like the
skid steer-
gooseneck that was
skid steer,
there
yeah,
and-
Yeah, yeah.
Motion to accept officer's recommendation, move the compliance date to May 30th.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion from Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Hames, to accept staff's recommendation, however, moving the compliance date to, I'm sorry,
May 30.
to May 30th. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so what we've done, she's moved the compliance date, or the board has, to May 30th, and wish you the best.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you for coming in. Brings us to our next case, which is right below the one we just heard. And it's number 4 on the agenda, case number 22-25 CEB, Net Folly Rivera Lopez and Marie Pena Perez, 4207 Rocky Ridge Place, Sanford, 32773.
I need somebody to interpret it for me.
Okay. Go ahead and, well, the respondents, who's doing the interpreting?
I'm gonna try to do it
My son.
best as I can.
Okay, and these two are,
And they're both, this is Maria and this is Naftali.
okay, great. And your name?
My name is Naftali Jr.
Charlie. Okay.
We just need him on the microphone, and she can swear him in as a translator. He was sworn in as a translator?
Mira, Salvador
Okay,
está ahí.
okay. I'll help if he needs help.
Okay. When you're doing your translation, I'll need you to speak close enough to one of those microphones where it'll pick it up.
Okay.
I have to be able to hear you.
Okay.
So maybe ask if you can, yeah, squat down.
Okay.
That might
Can you
work.
do same-time translation while they're talking? Can you whisper in his ear? Okay, but whisper loud enough so I can hear you, okay? All right.
Do you want me to present the first slide, let him translate it?
Yeah.
Understood.
Quiero que está el doble.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the record, Officer Bavaro, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement. For the record, I am submitting a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2225 CEB. Neftali Rivera Lopez, Maria Pina Perez. The property is located at 4207 Rocky Ridge Place. Violation charged is Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 13, Section 30.202. Extension of a business/home office is not a permitted use in an R1 zone.
They're bringing you a chair, so hold on, so that you can sit next to him.
Thanks.
And then do me a favor, just kind of tell him all that, especially the violation listed.
Ok, so la violación que te están dando es porque tú tienes vehículos en la casa, que para ello es pues que estás haciendo negocio en la casa.
Okay, tell him he'll have an opportunity to speak, but just right now, tell him what the violation is.
Pues esa es la violación de ahora y vas a tener el chance de hablar ya mismo. Pero
Okay.
está presentándolo el juez.
Okay, so I'd like to explain to the board the R1A zone permitted uses. So in this zone, they are permitted to have a single-family dwelling and their customary accessory uses. One boat dock, one boat house per lot, when an accessory use for the principal dwelling. Community or residential homes, public, private schools, or home offices.
So, él dice que puedes tener un vehículo de la casa, un dock para un bote, pero las otras cosas no.
El doble yo lo pongo.
Okay, he'll have an opportunity. He'll have an opportunity.
And then I want to also stress the definition of what a home office is in the Land Development Code. So an office, we're permitted in Chapter 30 Land Development Code, that is used in a incidental manner at a residence. Incidental means a home office involving the use of computers, telephones, facsimiles, or other equipment and storage of supplies and/or products that is typically used in a business but are also typical in a residential use.
I don't get that.
Say that again.
So essentially, a home office is an incidental use, meaning they can have a home office for the use of computers, telephones, facsimiles, other equipment, storage of supplies that are typical in a business but also typical in a residence.
Okay, so él dice que tú puedes tener una computadora o algo así, que tipo lo puedes tener en la casa, pero ir a un business, pero no.
Aquí yo no tengo negocio en la casa.
He'll get a chance. He'll get a chance. He'll get a chance to ask questions in a minute. Okay.
So the initial inspection was on 10/14 of '21. A notice was issued on 10/15/21. A compliance date of 11/4 of '21. Several follow-up inspections, the most recent being this morning. And the unpermitted use violation remains on the property.
Yo te chequearon hasta esta mañana y estos 2 días. Y esta mañana que todavía está en.
Ellos nunca me dieron que tenía que mover el doble.
He'll get a chance to, he'll get a chance. Yeah, okay.
So this image accurately depicts the violations on the dates in which they were taken. This one was taken on 10/14 of '21, and it shows on the left a car battery, and on the right image it shows a car dolly, which is used
La batería.
to transport other vehicles. They put 2 wheels up onto that dolly, and the vehicle's 2 wheels remain on the ground.
Pues ahí te está enseñando la violación, es una batería en un carro y el dolly.
El dolly nunca me dieron a mí que tenía que sacarlo.
He'll get a chance. He'll get a chance. Go ahead.
Okay. So I had a conversation with the respondent via phone after conducting an inspection. We tried to communicate, but obviously there's a language barrier. So I dispatched a Spanish-speaking deputy to the house to translate via phone. So this is Deputy Sheriff Martell on 10/14 of 21, and this is his statement in a report that we have. At approximately 16:45 hours, I responded to 4207 Rocky Ridge Place, Seminole County, Florida, in reference to meeting with Natali. I was able to assist Code Enforcement Specialist Bavaro in speaking to Naftali in regards to allegations of running a business out of the home. Naftali explained that he purchases vehicles at auction, brings them home to clean them, and then turns around and sells them at auction. Bavaro informed him, via the translator, he could not conduct these activities. Naftali stated he would continue because it was his only source of income. He would have to be taken to court if they wanted him to stop. I informed him he would be receiving a notice of code violation by mail within a few days.
Okay, so él te dijeron a ti que tú estabas corriendo un negocio de casa. Te lo dijeron por el teléfono y después vino alguien a explicarte las cosas en español y te dijeron que tú no puedes hacer eso en la casa y tú le dijiste que te llevaran a la corte porque ese era tu único de esto de ser chavo y que te llevaran a la corte.
Okay.
Good. On 10/18/2021, this image was taken by Deputy Sheriff Martell, and I'll read you a statement from him, which was on 10/18/21. While conducting an area patrol at approximately 08:10 hours, I observed a new vehicle on the driveway of 4207 Rocky Ridge Place. The vehicle was a red Mazda RX-8. The vehicle was backed into the driveway all the way to the garage. This leads me to believe that the vehicle is one of Naftali's purchases, as he continues to operate his business from his residence. The other vehicle in the driveway is a smart car in which Naftali has a transporter license plate attached to it. I informed Naftali he could only utilize the transporter plate to transport vehicles for the business, and he stated he understood. He has yet to remove the license plate from the vehicle and is utilizing it as a daily driver.
Okay, so él vio el Mazda RX-8, que él sabe que tú lo compraste por tu negocio y vieron el carrito con el tag de transportar y que te dijeron a ti que eso solamente se puede utilizar para transportar un carro a un negocio. Y te dijeron que le moviera eso de los carros, pero que todavía lo estás usando como tu carro de día, que tú usas todos los días.
Okay.
Good. Okay, good. On 11/29/21, I received a message from my witness regarding activity at the house. I again dispatched a deputy to the location. Deputy Sheriff Stringer notified me via phone that she conducted a recheck, and she noticed the tag on the vehicle, Florida DV9341I. I ran the registration on the vehicle and came up with this. So that tag that was on that vehicle, the one that ends in 1L, was replaced with a different tag that ends in the HX. That vehicle was not registered to anybody that resides at that residence. It was registered to somebody who lives in Orlando. In addition, it came back to a different vehicle than what the registration was on.
Ok, aquí él te sacó fotos de los carros y ninguno salió como si tuviera registrado a alguien que viviera en la casa. Y salió que una de las tablillas no era de uno de sus carros. pues, pero no, esto es un Kia.
Okay.
So at this time, I'd like to call my witness, if I could.
Sure. Hacer una foto. Porque quería hacer una foto del carro ahí.
And your name now,
My name is Mary Ream.
and your position?
I live next door to them.
Okay.
So, Ms. Ream, I just have a few questions. So, how close do you live to the respondents? Where do you live at in relation to them?
I live next door to them at 4211 Rocky Ridge.
Okay. Do you recall filing a complaint or meeting with law enforcement on or about October 14th of 2021?
I do.
Okay. What was the nature of that meeting?
The business that they were operating out of the home.
Okay.
Ok. So, a ella la usan como testigo y ella le saca fotos a todo lo que hagan en la casa y ella pues saca fotos de tus carros y de esto porque ella sabe que tú estás, tienes un negocio en la casa, básicamente.
So again, you stated that there was business activity, correct?
That is correct.
What kind of business activity?
Well, it's the cars coming and going, being worked on, being sold,
Okay.
a lot of traffic.
Que tienes un negocio en casa y que los carros van y vuelven y tú los vendes y vuelves con otro. Que hay mucho tráfico.
How often did the activity occur? Was it daily, weekly, monthly? Was it every other hour? How often
Well,
was it?
in the beginning, it was very frequent, 4 or 5 times a week, cars coming and going. And since he'd gotten involved, it has slowed down, but it's still a weekly, once or twice a week, the cars coming and going.
Okay, so that was my next question. If the activity stays the same or if it slowed down since October 14th?
It has slowed down, but it still continues,
Okay.
yes.
So, al principio, que tú lo hacías mucho, como 5 o 6 veces a la semana, pero que has bajado de esto y ahora lo haces por lo menos 2 o 3 veces a la semana, que todavía sigues bregando desde la casa.
Okay, go ahead, Shannon. Okay, Ms. Ream, is this an image you provided to me?
Yes, sir?
Have you altered it in any way?
No, sir.
Have you altered any of the images that I'm going to show today?
No, sir.
Okay. If there is one, let me know.
Okay, I might have blown one up.
Okay.
Now that
that's
so
fine.
yes, I
All
can
right,
say.
so what is this image taken on 12/9/21? What are we seeing in this image?
I almost need to blow it up now. Him working on a car.
What color
It's
is
the red one.
the red car in the driveway?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I need you to say
Ella te sacó fotos bregando en Mazda, papi. Pues ella te sacó fotos bregando en el carro. La usan de testigo, so.
And what image is this taken on 12/14/21? What is this depicting?
Him backing up cars. He'd taken it off the trailer, backed it up, and was working on it.
Okay, good.
En esta, que sacaste el carro del dolly y empezaste a bregar en él.
Okay, the image you're providing on 1/21/22, the image on the left, what is that depicting?
That's showing him removing a car on the car dolly,
Okay, and then the image on the right?
bringing another one.
Okay.
So, mira, aquí te saco una foto llevándote el carro en el dolly y aquí trayendo otro.
Good, Shannon. And then this image you provided on 2/2/22, what was this image depicting?
Another car with a hood up and him working on it.
Okay.
Oh, mira aquí. Oh, el Acura. Ahí te saco otra foto de la Acura. Mira la fecha ahí, febrero.
Good, Shannon. And then the image on 3/7/2022, what is this image depicting?
Him
On the left.
with another car working on it. The one on the right showing that he works on them into the night.
Okay, very good, thank you. I have no other questions. Do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Pues aquí lo que enseña es que pues,
Slideshow.
Do, excuse me, any of the board members have any questions for the witness?
2022, si eso fue este
No?
año.
Thank you.
Ella lo que está,
Thank you.
ella lo que está enseñando es que
Yo lo que sé que
ella está
ella,
enseñando que
que
tienen pruebas de nada. ¿Por qué no? Tú no puedes tener el negocio.
So the suggested recommendation by the code enforcement officer is based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2225 CEB. It's determined that the respondent, Neftali Rivera Lopez and Maria Pina Perez, are the owners of record at the property located at 4207 Rocky Ridge Place in Seminole County, as determined by the property appraiser's records, in possession and control of the property, and in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 12, Section 30.202.
Mira que pues, todo lo que ellos te enseñaron pues fue básico en un testimonio de evidencia que le enseñaron y determinan que pues que esto está pasando en la casa.
It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to comply before midnight on May 12, 2022. In order to comply, they must cease the unpermitted use on the property, or a fine of $100 a day be imposed.
Ok, so ellos necesitan que tú no tengas carros ahí pasando este día, mayo 12. Si no, te van a dar una multa de 100 pesos cada vez que tengas un carro en la casa.
I would like to add that I did do an inspection prior to arriving at this hearing, and I did observe in the driveway a black vehicle with a Florida dealer tag. That registration came back to an M&L Wholesale Auto Group, Wholesale Auto Corp. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Bavaro?
So,
Ms. Haynes?
Hold on, he needs to tell him that last.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
so
What he saw today, tell him what he saw this morning.
So, él pasó por casa hoy y vio el Lexus con la tablilla y está registrada al tipo de ese.
Okay.
Officer Bavaro, Ms. Ream may have mentioned this, I didn't catch it. How long has this all been going on?
I can answer on behalf of Ms. Ream. We had been notified prior to the violation. However, there was a change in Florida law regarding the regulation of business, so we were kind of at a hold off until we could navigate that change. So we were informed on 10/14 of the violation, and we responded out there that day. So Ms. Ream may have a earlier start date, but that's as far as this report's concerned. That's when we acknowledged the violation existed, was on 10/14/21.
I see. I guess I was wondering if this was a pandemic-related business that came into being as a result of everybody being stuck at home.
If Ms. Ream has anything to add?
Mira, ella preguntó que sí, que cuando estaba pasando esta cosa, y ellos están diciendo desde octubre, pero ella está diciendo que eso está pasando desde que te mudaste
Sorry.
ahí.
It had been going on since they moved in of, I think, I want to make sure I get my dates right. I'll go, it was prior to COVID, but not by much. And I never really said anything because I didn't realize there were violations until it was, like I said, in the beginning, it was much worse. And then in talking to somebody, they said, you should check the code violations. It's when I called him when they were making the changes due to COVID.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Le preguntaron que cuando las actividades empezaron en la casa, y ella dijo que fue antes de COVID, so, eso como en febrero o algo. Y ella no nos dijo nada porque ella no sabía cuál era la regla. Solo le dijeron que chequeara, investigara y se dio cuenta que eso no se podía hacer.
Okay. Are you ready for their side?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right, so Mr. Lopez Jr., this is their opportunity. What would they like to say?
¿Qué tú quieres decirle?
Que los problemas son porque
Do me a favor, I need him on the microphone so I can hear him.
eso lo puedo decir,
¿Qué tú vas a decir?
es lo que te estoy diciendo.
He-
Porque ella me está llamando a la policía a mí por cualquier cosa. Mientras tanto no me la llamaba.
You have to repeat everything he says. You can't
So
screen
he,
it.
No, he just said that He just always having problems with the neighbors, so he feels like she calls the cops all the time because they're having issues.
Antes ya no lo hacía.
Because she didn't do it at the beginning, but now it was just constant.
Eso es ahora.
You just repeat what he says.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Y las veces que fueron a casa nunca me...
What does he want to say about the violation?
And then he said every time that you guys came by, no one had ever talked to him except those 2 times that you guys mentioned, but that the cops came by and they never mentioned the cars at all. It was always the problems with whatever she called the cops for.
Okay, can I ask
Pero,
questions?
mira,
I'll help this along if I
ellos
can.
quieren saber,
Please.
Okay. So, does he understand the violation now?
¿tú entiendes la violación? Ellos lo que quieren es que tú no bregues en la casa.
Yo muevo.
Y no
Tiene
puedes.
que el Dori nunca, a mí del Dori nunca me dijeron que lo tenía que mover de ahí.
Tell me what he says.
Yeah, he said that no one had ever told him about moving the dolly. He never knew that was an issue.
Okay. So he knows that he can't bring cars here to fix up
I
and
I
resell?
explained it to him, yes.
Okay, and so he's going to stop doing it?
Yo puedo guiar el carro con tablilla de dealer.
He states that he can drive the cars with the dealer tag.
He's asking?
Yeah,
What's he asking? Ask the question.
he's asking like, so basically he has to stop bringing the cars over with the dealer tag?
No. Let me clarify. The issue is not that the cars are being driven to the house. It's that they're being washed, repaired, and et cetera.
Pues no quieren que tú laves los carros ni nada de eso, pero puede guiarlo.
If I can provide an example, if he picks up if the respondent picks up a vehicle from auction, brings it home, has lunch, and then leaves, that's acceptable.
Tell him that. Well, are you understanding?
So, si tú vienes a casa con un vehículo que compraste y puedes venir a comer y después irte en el carro, está bien, pero no puedes bregar en el carro.
Does he understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
I drive it every time different cars. You know?
And the issue is that
I don't work in the car no more in my house.
I have evidence that says that you do wash them or make minor repairs, maybe switch out a battery.
Él dice que él tiene evidencia que tú le cambias la batería o le haces algo.
Pues si el carro no
Algo
sirve, eso lo
bobo.
cambio adentro.
Sí, pero no se
You
puede
gotta
hacer
tell him what he's
nada-
saying.
Nada de lo que es de esto. He's just saying like if he had to like do a minor repair, he'll do it, but I'm trying to explain to him what you guys are
Cannot do
saying.
that no more.
No se puede.
So I'm working inside the garage. No want to do it inside the garage?
No.
No se puede.
Personal vehicles,
Vehículos de nosotros sí,
by example of being registered to
que
you,
están registrados a ti,
is acceptable.
pero los que tienen tag y no se puede.
Okay.
I think he understands.
Any other questions for the respondent? Seeing none, what's on the table is compliance date by May 12th or $100 per day fine. That's the recommended, the recommendation from staff.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the officer's plan and, let's see. I don't think it'd be too hard to get that handled. So I say we take that in consideration, and that'll be the end of it on the 12th of May.
Motion by Mr. Peterson to accept staff's recommendation as presented. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Townsend. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? What we have done was, we've accepted the recommendation, which is he needs to come into compliance by May 12th, or fines will kick in at $100 per day.
Okay, so ellos decidieron que pues tienen que parar de hacer lo que tú haces en mayo 12 o te dan una multa de 100 pesos al día.
El Dori yo lo puedo poner atrás con la llave.
What's he saying?
He's saying the dolly, can he store it in our backyard? Because then, it's not visible.
Can we work on clarification of what exactly needs to be done after?
Please, yep.
He'll meet with you afterwards to explain exactly what you can or can't have outside the property. Tell him that.
Él va a hablar contigo ahora, cuando
Okay.
termine esto. Él habla
Thank you.
contigo para
Okay.
decirte
Thank you.
que no puedes tener en casa.
Next case is on page 3, agenda item 5, case number 21-02-CEB, Peter S. and LaShonda A. Adudu, 4621 Dubois Street, Sanford 32771. Sir, if you could state your name for us, I'd appreciate it.
Peter Adams.
I do. Okay, thank you.
Officer Bavaro, you got another case.
I apologize. Officer Barbaro, San Luis County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement. This case, 2102 CEB, Peter and LaShonda A. Adudu. Property is located at 4621 Du Bois Street. So this case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on April 22nd, 2021. An order was issued continuing the case till July 22nd, 2021. On July 22nd, 2021, an order was issued giving the respondents a compliance date of October 28th, 2021. Affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after a reinspection on October 29th, 2021. Based on the findings and facts, conclusions of law and order, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a lien in the amount of $18,200 for 182 days of noncompliance from October 29th, 2021 through and including April 28th, 2022. And that the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after April 28th, 2022. So myself and Specialist Hansen responded out on 4/1 of 2022 and posted, was it? Okay. On 4/14 of 2022, we spoke with Mr. Adudu. The house was in similar condition, if not worse, than what it was in. I had previously checked to see if any permits were pulled. We did not see any permits were pulled. Mr. Adudu, we asked him what his plan was, and he suggested that he was still trying to move forward in repairing the structure. So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Bavaro? Seeing none, sir, this is your opportunity to speak on this issue. The recommendation is for us to impose a lien in the amount of $18,200 for $182 of noncompliance, and that's why we're here today. The floor is yours, sir.
Excuse me, sir. We were planning to demolish the place, the house, but they won't give us permits. They said, when I get the light taken off, I've called the light bill, people didn't respond yet. And my wife is not in a good condition. Her leg is amputated. I'm not walking, I'm sick too, Our best bet is, they didn't even tell us we are owing $18,000. I came here on the 10th of October, 28th October. They say everything postponed till January 27, 2022. When I came in here, my name was not in the docket. You know, I didn't have nobody to speak to. Suddenly, I have this paper in the mail that I'm charged $18,000. I don't have no money. When that house is destroyed, I don't even have a place to stay. You know, but there ain't no problem. But because the house is old, you know. But for telling me we owing 18,000, Lord have mercy, I can't pay that. I don't have money.
Officer Bavaro, that's still in non-compliance, is that correct?
Correct, and I believe Mr. Dudu was approached by a gentleman who was at the hearing, I think the original one or maybe the second one, and he was going to offer assistance. I don't obviously know where we stand with that. But it is still in non-compliance, and I'm checking to make sure that there's no permits pulled, but I don't suspect there are.
Do you have somebody who's offered to help you?
Yeah, there was a gentleman here the very first time I came over here. He said he was going to help. And we've applied on Seminole County permits so that they can help you build your house, redo everything. But I ain't hear from them. They said the project, there's not enough money there again, that the governor have taken the money away from that project and used it for another project. We're still waiting on the waiting list.
The problem with this case is, it looks like it started in April of 2021. It was found to be in violation, and then there were multiple issues of non-compliance. This case worked its way through the different hearings until finally it was determined that fines would be kicked in, and it's now worked its way up to the $18,000 number. That's why that number's there. It wasn't just picked and thrown out there, but it's still in non-compliance after all this time, and it's tough. This board takes into consideration heavily if there's been attempts to come into compliance, or especially if you've come into compliance. I've seen this board do a lot of generous things, but at this point, I'm not sure where they're to go. I'll leave that up to them, but that's how we got here.
Question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Peterson.
Yes, sir. What are your intentions now?
Yeah, my intention is let the house go, to demolish the house.
Have you talked to somebody about demolishing it?
Yeah, I talked to somebody, but he said I have to pull the permits.
Right. And where are we now on that?
Pardon me?
Where are you now on that?
Yeah, I said after the court today, if they will allow me to get the permit right quick, because I've spoken to the man who's going to help me to demolish the place. He said, when you get the permit, let me know. I will start, immediately.
So, and are you working on getting a permit right now? Have
Yes, sir.
you talked to the building department?
Pardon me?
Have you talked to the building department to get that going, to get a permit?
Yeah, the permit to destroy the demolition, yeah.
Okay. So, you don't have a permit yet, but you're working on it?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I ain't got it yet.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just as a clarification, are you getting the permit, or is the gentleman who said he would demolish it for you getting the permit?
He said I have to get it, me.
You have to get it?
Yeah.
And have you started that process at all?
I've started it. I came here, they told me I should go and get the paper from the light, the power, Florida Power. If I get a certification that they ain't got no light in the house no more, then they can give me a permit. I've called the light people, they ain't turn up, show up,
Can we have somebody help him?
you
do
know.
that? Not allowed to.
Yeah, no.
So it's electric, you have to get the electric turned off before?
Yeah, they said turn the electric off, let the power, Florida Power give me the
Florida Power?
certification.
Florida
Yeah.
Power and Light?
Yeah. Bring the certification letter to them before they give me the permission to demolish.
And have you contacted Florida Power and Light for that?
I contact them. Just,
And
you know,
you've not heard back?
They ain't show up yet.
When did you contact whoever you contacted?
I'll contact them about 2 months ago.
And when were they supposed to show up?
They didn't show up yet. They told me, oh, they will send somebody there to inspect it, to look at it.
They didn't give you a date?
No.
So the only thing before you today is to decide whether to impose the lien. He can continue to move towards compliance. The fine will continue to accrue, and once he's in compliance, then he can deal with the BZA with regards to the lien, correct?
Correct.
So that's,
Can he get the permits he needs if there's a lien in place?
I don't know.
I just want to provide some clarification. We responded out on 7/23 of 2019, and he, throughout the course of this case in 2022, he was provided 2 packets, application for CDBG.
Oh.
But I just wanted a clarification. This was 7/23 of 2019 is when I started my investigation, and we're now in April of 2022.
What's a CDBG?
It's a program by the county to, in some cases, repair people's homes or do minor repairs or fix roofs or demolish the entire structure and rebuild a new one.
Yeah, it's a grant program.
2019?
He was provided that in 2019. After the hearing we attended, I believe the first one, the board requested I issue him another application. I either sent or dropped off another application, and that was in 2021, I believe.
And are you saying that he never applied?
I can neither confirm that he applied. There's cases when they run out of funds, or if somebody doesn't apply, or they don't meet the qualifications of the program. There's several factors.
Do you recall getting that packet on a couple of occasions?
Yes.
And what happened with that packet?
What package, sir?
The package back in 2019 and maybe again in 2021 that you could fill out for the county to help you with a situation like this and help you with the demolition.
Yeah, I filled it out. They said they didn't have no phone to help out. That's what they said.
They give you that back in writing?
Yeah, they said they didn't give.
They gave that back to you in writing?
Yeah, they ain't got no phone right now.
Why didn't you bring that here today?
Pardon me?
Why didn't you bring that here today if they gave that back to you in writing?
No, they didn't give it back to me in writing. I came here, I told them that I was, somebody from here, I was referred to certain place to call and call. They will help me for assistance. I called several times. They won't even, when they answer phone, they tell me, oh, call back. There'll be phone, so they're in the phone right now. Call back. I start calling all the time.
I just want to make a comment. I think there's a language issue at play here because it seems like he doesn't really comprehend how he got to this spot and that he was given 2 different packets. I suspect he didn't understand what those were all about either. It's just the way it seems to me.
However, the only thing before you today is the process and the procedure. There was a gentleman here who helped him initially, because I remember that.
It was, I believe, in July of 2021 is when that service was offered.
So there are things that,
And who offered that service?
It was
Just a person that was at the meeting?
somebody in the public.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's always opportunity when you go to the county to have help if you don't understand something explained to you. So the only thing you can do today, the only thing before you is the next step in the process from an administrative perspective. It doesn't mean that he still can't move forward towards compliance and try to get the help that he needs. But pursuant to Chapter 162, there's a process in place, and that's the next step.
Then I'll make a motion that we lien the property to move forward in the process.
The motion by Ms. Hames to accept staff's recommendation as presented.
Second.
Second by Ms. Patton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We've accepted the recommendation, which is to impose the lien. You can still try to bring this into compliance. That would stop the fines, and there are processes after that where you can come back to the county and try to address the liens. But at this point, there really wasn't much choice, so that's where we're at. But I do thank you for coming in. Brings us to case...
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
he has something to ask, I think.
He has a question?
Yes, sir.
What I'm saying is, can y'all give me about 2 or 3 months to get it destroyed, the house, removed, please?
You already had a motion and a second.
I know, because I told you they didn't give me no permit. That's the hold up.
We've already made a motion that's passed, and it's already part of the record. You can still do what you just said, and there are still avenues for you to try to address that lien. But at this point, we just made a motion and it passed. So,
You have another family waiting in chambers. Item number 7, page 5.
yeah. Case number, and we're on page 5, agenda item number 7. Case number 21-66 CEB, Michael Saberio, 155 Omims Road, Geneva, 32732. If you could state your name for the record.
Michael Siberia.
Thank you. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. This is case 2166 CEB. Respondents Michael Siberio. The violation charge with Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 6, Section 30.102, unpermitted use. An accessory structure is not a permitted use on a vacant parcel in an A5 zoning district. My initial inspection was December 7th, 2020. Code Board compliance date was November 22nd, 2021, with follow-up inspections on October 25th, 2021, March 25th, 2022, and April 27th, which was yesterday. The violation of accessory structure on a vacant parcel. While the property is no longer vacant, he is currently building a house. He does have an RV, but the accessory structure still remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on yesterday, April 27, 2022. On the left is still the accessory structure that remains on the property. On the right is the house, the residence that he's currently building. So he was supposed to come into compliance on November 22nd, 2021. That's when he came in and he was issued a demo permit on the same day over the counter. His demo permit expires May 21st. An affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after the inspection, and based on the findings of fact, conclusions of law and order, the Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a lien in the amount of $15,700 for 157 days of noncompliance from November 23rd, 2021 through and including April 28th, 2022. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $100 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after April 28th, 2022. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill?
Just clarification, so he's building his house, he has begun construction? Because I remember when he was here before, I felt like what we told him to do was go get started building his house.
The order was to remove the accessory structure from the property.
Oh, it was.
Any other questions?
So this would not be an issue if there was a house, a residence already there?
Correct. So he had an unpermitted accessory structure on the property that he was residing out of. So I believe the building department had a case in reference to an unpermitted structure, and then my case was that he had an accessory structure without a primary structure, and he was occupying that. Now, currently, he has an RV, and I assume that he's living in the RV now, or I'm not sure if he's living in the RV or still in the
RV,
structure,
yeah.
but he's building a house currently.
Thank you. Any other questions for Officer Hill? Seeing none, Mr. Saberio, this is your opportunity to speak on behalf of this.
Yes. You know, I came here with the magistrate for a violation, and when I got the violation with Officer Hill, they told me over here, the magistrate and the inspector, that once I get the demolition permit, that the violation goes away. And today, when I received the letter, then I find out that this violation didn't go away. But the other violation go away into the 21st. So I was supposed to finish my house, you know, by May. So I was living in the shed. I've been living in the shed. I mean, she knows that. I mean, and for 8 months, I waited for my trusses, and AccuSpan stole my money. They closed the company. I lost my money for trusses because the law can't do nothing about that, because it's a company that disappeared, so I don't have nobody to sue. And after 8 months waiting for the trusses, I couldn't get them, so my house was stuck for all that time. Then my neighbor lent me a machine. He said, listen, I bought the trusses in Alabama. So finally, I got my trusses from Alabama. It cost me probably more money because I had to ship them from Alabama. I got my trusses. My neighbors helped me because everybody over there has been helping me. And over here too, I can't say they haven't helped me here either because she's been decent enough too, and the building department's been decent enough with me. But I lost my money. The banks don't give me money because it's on a bill. I'm disabled. I just fell out from a ladder. A couple of days ago, I almost broke my arm. And everybody helps me. You know, I have wonderful neighbors. And but I already got my windows. This weekend, I'm going to get my roof on. But to go to the violation, my understanding was because on May, I was supposed to finish my house. I couldn't finish it because of what happened to me. And last year, I had 2 heart attacks. You know, I got 3 stems in my heart right now. But I still want to build my house. It's going to be my last project, I say, until I die with my wife. But my understanding was that I was going to knock it down on the 27th because I will have my house already built, you know, and I will have a place to stay. And I'm sorry. But that's my only concern. I can't pay $15,000. I have to still pay $9,000 of the impact fees I haven't been able to pay. I pay only the streets and the police officer and the fire department. I paid, I think it was like $1,400, and now I owe $9,000. That now I'm gonna do my plumbing because I'm doing all my framing inside, then my plumbing, electricity, and. But once I do my electricity, I have to pay my $9,000. How can I afford to pay 15 if I don't have, you know? And I promise you, by the 21st, I will knock it down because that was my understanding, that the violation will run away. I mean, the inspector next door, he came over here and was talking to me. He said in front of the magistrate, I mean, she was present here, and he said, once you get the permit, the violation goes away. My understanding was that both violations went away. And me, by doing things by the law, you know, I waited, like she said, I waited into almost the end of compliances so I could get the permit, so I could have an extension of the 6 months, so I could, you know, be in a safe place. you know, if not, what, sleep in my car or the RV, I can't do it because I have a lot of, a friend of mine lent it to me, and I have a lot of problems inside that I can't fix it right now. But, is what, I'll sleep in the river with my windows open? You know, that's the only place I have right now, but if I have to do it on the 21st, I'll do it on the 21st.
Officer Hill, sounds like he's describing that he's been working steadily and he's close to the end, and he's at the stage of putting windows in. What progress have you seen? And I don't know if I missed the photos, I wasn't looking the whole time, but is progress been ongoing this whole time?
I mean, he's been building that house, but towards compliance for his violation, because the hearing for a special magistrate has nothing to do with the hearing for a code board. Building department, they do the building code, we are some land development code, which this falls under. So neither special magistrate or this hearing had to do with either one, and that's been explained to him multiple times. The last time I heard from Mr. Siberio was back in April of last year. I had to call the building department yesterday just to even find out if he even attempted to get the demo permit, and that's when I was told that he actually got the demo permit over the counter the day he was supposed to be in compliance ordered by the Code Enforcement Board.
So I guess he's probably got two different permits going on, right? A demo permit and a building permit?
Correct. So he has both. He just has not complied with the board order to take down because he's still occupying the shed. And you can, when you're building, you can get a permit to occupy the RV. So I was just assuming that's why the RV was now all of a sudden parked there, because he was residing in it.
That was the reason I bought it, to do that. But then the RV is like, I put water on it and all over the place.
I would like to talk to my colleagues on the board, and it's my personal, I mean, I normally 99.999% of the time side with Ms. Hill, but this guy's rocking it. He's doing what he can, and he's almost done. And our goal is always to reward and thank and benefit people who are actually trying, because most of the time we see non-effort. And I'm seeing incredible effort here. And so while I 100% respect and majority of the time agree with Ms. Hill, this time I'm going to recommend that we decline the officer's recommendation, maybe knock this out a couple of months and see what his progress is, and see if he's moved into the house in a couple of months from now.
Yeah, I think so too, because I know the trust thing is very real.
Yes.
It is very real. And he's doing all he can with the stuff he has control over, but there are supply chain issues here.
Yeah.
So you're going to recommend tabling this to a certain future date?
I'd like to table it to a future date and see if he gets moved into the house, and once he moves into the house, knocks it down then. And then, just because that's our goal anyway. That's what we're trying for, so I don't want to hinder him, and I don't want to discourage him. I want to encourage him. And so that's my motion.
What date? 90 days? Is that what you're suggesting? 90 days would be July 28th.
Would it? Mr. Severo, do you think you can get it all done and get that place knocked down by the end of July?
I was planning to have it knocked down by the 21st.
Of May?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well, then
what,
what about if we come back and look at this again in June and see how you're doing in June?
We're not meeting in June.
No, we're not meeting in, so the end of July. We'll check you out and see if you've gotten everything
but
done.
what about the fine?
We'd make it go away if everything was done and cool by the end of July.
July? Okay.
Is that cool? Can you
Yeah.
do that? That's what I'm asking my colleagues to do.
You're asking us to table this?
Table it to July, and if he's done everything and moved into the house and knocked it down, then the fines go away.
We
Then the enforcement
would
goes away.
discuss and do a vote at that time, correct?
Just, yeah, you can continue it and see how you are in July. In the meantime, the fine continues to accrue. And then you make that decision as to whether you impose the lien or waive any fines or talk to the county about administrative cost once he's in compliance.
Right.
Between now and then, we may have more info from staff that want to give us their input as well. So I personally would not to make an advance motion of getting rid of the fines until we sit down and talk about a date specific, which if we table this to July 28th, that would work.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you making a motion?
I am.
I'll
Second.
that.
Motion by Ms. Patton, second by Mr. Peterson, just at the wire, to table this agenda item until July 28th, 2022. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Amen.
That's what we did. Now, let's clarify one thing. We got two different permits going on, so let her tell you what permit we're talking about for this, the date that we're tabling it, because you've got other issues going on with magistrate, correct?
So, building department already came in prior to the hearing and told him about the permit and how building code is different from Seminole County Land Development Code. So I've explained it to him, and the building department's already explained it to him.
Okay, so I don't want you to think.
Yeah, but I got a permit for the house, and I've been passing all the inspections that, so far, thanks God, that I haven't failed one yet.
I just don't want you to think you demo the building and you're all done.
What do you mean? If I demo the building,
That doesn't mean that everything is resolved.
Well, it may be here, but not someplace else. So
Right.
just, yeah, she can explain that to you outside.
no, over there, yeah, no, over there, I know, I understand that. But, I mean, I just can't afford $15,000. You know, I mean, I will have to stop building the house right now if I have to do that.
Sure.
Matter of fact, that's the only thing I got, $14,000 left to keep working on it, so.
We kicked it to check on your progress. Okay?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, God bless.
Thank you for coming in today. Okay, we had a late case that we're going to hear. It's page 4, case number 21-58, CEB Jeffrey Manauer.
He's just a witness. Okay, all right, so I misunderstood. Do we just have just an observer in chambers? And so the officer asked if we could just hear this case before you take a break? That's what it is. So the respondent's not present, but there's someone in the public that would like to hear the case.
Are we going to be making a decision on the case?
What number is this? Yeah?
Yes.
Which case is it?
It's page 4, item 6, 2158 CEB.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, it's a lien request.
Okay. Go ahead.
Officer Barrow, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement. This is case 2158 CEB Jeffrey D. McNair. The property is located at 238 Jones Avenue. This case was originally heard by the Code Enforcement Board on September 23rd, 2021, and an order was issued given the respondent's compliance date of December 2nd, 2021. Affidavit of noncompliance was filed by myself after reinspection on December 8th, 2021. The recommendation is based on the findings of facts, conclusions of law and order issued on September 23rd, 2021. The Code Enforcement Board issued an order imposing a lien amount of $7,350 for 147 days of noncompliance from December 3rd, 2021 through and including April 28th, 2022. And the fine shall continue to accrue at $50 per day for each day the violation continues or is repeated after April 28th, 2022. I did do a most recent inspection as of today, and the violation does remain, and if anything, has accumulated more debris. The respondent had approached me and I believe was given the number to legal aid regarding a tenant in the backyard that was occupying a camper. I have not heard from the respondent any time in the last few months. And while I was on scene earlier today, I did observe the gentleman in the backyard. There's everything from tree debris to parts, a dresser, several items scattered throughout the whole backyard. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. And I'm thinking I may not have read the address into the record, so just for the record, this is case number 21-58, CEB Jeffrey D. McNair, 238 Jones Avenue, Sanford, 32773. Any questions for Officer Bavaro on this case? Seeing none, anybody have a motion?
Motion to accept officer's recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Patton, second by Ms. Hames to accept Officer Bavaro's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us back to the beginning of our agenda, which would be agenda item number 1 on page 1. Case number 22-22 CEB Marshall L. and Barbara Wills, 460 East 6th Street, Chiliota, 32766. Officer Hill.
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office Code Enforcement East Region. I have submitted a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2222 CEB, Marshall L. and Barbara Wills, located at 460 East 6th Street in Seminole County. Violation charge is Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B, uncultivated vegetation. My initial inspection was on October 12th, 2021. With notice to the respondent, I spoke with the daughter on site on the day of my inspection and gave her a verbal warning with a verbal compliance date. My other notices were sent via mail November 2nd, November 22nd, and December 15th, 2021, with multiple compliance dates and follow-up inspections. As of yesterday, the violation of uncultivated vegetation remains on the subject property. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on October 12th, 2021. These photos were taken of the backyard on October 12th, 2021. These photos were taken on the same date. This is the front yard. These photos were taken on November 18th, 2021. They had cut the front yard, but which is the photo depicted on the left, the backyard had not been mowed. These photos were taken on December 7th, 2021, still the backyard not mowed. These photos were taken on January 4th, 2022. This photo was taken on January 4th, 2022. These photos were taken on the day of posting, which was April 14th, 2022. Photos were taken on the same day of the backyard. These photos were taken on the day of posting. These photos were taken yesterday of the backyard. These photos were taken yesterday, and these are the pictures from the front yard. The suggested recommendation, based on the testimony and evidence presented in case 2222 CEB, is discernment that the respondents, Marshall L. and Barbara Wills, is the owner of record located at 460 East 6th Street in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Code, Chapter 95, Section 95.4, as defined in 95.3B. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondents to correct the violation on or before midnight of May 16th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondents must remove all uncultivated vegetation in excess of 8 inches in height from the subject property. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $50 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. The day that I conducted my first initial inspection, I met with Ms. Wills' daughter, Emily. She stated that she lives there with her mother, who does have some health issues, along with her other 2 siblings, and she said that they would get the yard mowed, but they do have a hard time getting it mowed because apparently all of them work 10-hour shifts, and it's just hard to get it done. But she stated that they would make some progress. So when I did go out for my other inspection, they did mow the front yard, but they have neglected this whole entire time to the backyard. I did speak with a neighbor saying in the past that they've had to get a bush hog to get the backyard down to height, and I believe Ms. Wills called Ms. Hughes and informed her that she couldn't be here today, but she would be getting a bush hog out there to mow the backyard as well. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions for Officer Hill or motion?
I make a motion, we accept Officer Hill's recommendation.
Motion by Ms. Hames, second by Mr. Peterson to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next case you'll find on page 6. This respondent has 3 cases. Officer Hill, when you present them, you can just present them all back to back. First one is case number...
I think we have one more.
Oh, we got one more? Oh, wait, I
On
missed.
page 2.
Okay. Thank you.
The only reason I said that is because it just sounds interesting.
Yeah, no, you're right, yeah. Okay, I missed that one. Page 2, top of the page, agenda item number 2, 22-23 CEB, Two-Headed Eagle, Inc., unassigned, Julietta, Florida, 32766. Officer Hill?
Officer Hill, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Code Enforcement, East Region. I'm submitting a copy, for the record, I'm submitting a copy of my PowerPoint to the clerk as Exhibit 1. This is case 2223 CEB, respondents, Two-Headed Eagle, Inc. Joseph Nikolai is the registered agent for these properties. There are 2 vacant parcels located in Chuliota. The violation charge is Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 65, Section 30.1245, uses permitted. A sign which advertises or announces a business where the business is not located is not a permitted use in an R1 zoning district. My initial inspection was on December 7th, 2021, with respondents to, with notice to the respondent verbally. I spoke with the property owner on December 7th, the same day as my initial inspection, and then on December 15th and January 7th, 2022, with a verbal compliance day on December 13th. The property owner said he would get the sign removed, which he did not, which was followed up with written notices of violation on January 3rd and January 21st, 2020. Sorry, that should be 2022. With follow-up inspections, including yesterday. The violation of the unpermitted business sign remains on the subject properties. These photos were taken on my initial inspection on December 7th, 2021. This is a sign asking help from the community to bring Giovanni's to that area. That area right there is zoned residential, R1, and he also has those 2 parcels for sale under a different business name. This photo was taken on December 14th, 2021. This photo was taken on January 4th, 2022, is now laying down on the ground. This photo was taken on January 24th, 2022. This one was taken yesterday. Same as these 2. So when I responded out in reference to a complaint, I did speak with the property owner. I informed him what the violation was. He said, well, those are my 2 parcels. I own them. They are for sale. So I said, well, you cannot advertise for a business that is not located at the site. He said, well, what if since I'm selling those 2 properties, what if I put Giovanni's name on the for sale signs? I said, well, according to property appraiser, these properties are owned by Two-Headed Eagle, Inc., not Giovanni's. He said, well, it's the same company. I said, well, to make it clean and you want to advertise the property for sale by Giovanni's, you would need to get it changed and property appraiser to make it clean. He said, okay, I think I can do that. So, and I said, well, you still would need to get the Giovanni sign removed from the property in the meantime. He said, well, I'll get it done in a week. And no progress had been made. Most recently, due to the hearing that the paperwork that he had signed for this hearing, they had called me and said, well, I knocked it down. I said, okay, but you still need to remove it from the property. He said, well, I don't have a way to get off the property. Do you have a truck I can borrow? I said, no, sir, I do not have a truck that you can borrow. I said, how did you get it out there on the property? So I hired somebody to install it. And I said, well, maybe you can get a hold of him to have him remove it as well. So he said, okay, I'll get it done in a week, and it still remains there. So the suggested recommendation is based on testimony and evidence presented in case 2223 CEB has determined that the respondents, Two-Headed Eagle, Inc., and Joseph Nikolai are the registered agents, the owners of record of the property located at the vacant parcels in Chuliota in Seminole County, in possession or control of the property, and is in violation of Seminole County Land Development Code, Chapter 30, Part 65, Section 30.1245, uses unpermitted in R1 zoning district. It is further recommended the Code Enforcement Board issue an order for the respondent to correct the violation on or before midnight of May 16th, 2022. In order to correct the violation, the respondent must remove the unpermitted sign from the vacant parcels. If the respondent does not comply with the order, a fine of $100 will be imposed for each day the violation continues or is repeated after compliance. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Any questions or a motion?
Make a motion
Second.
to accept staff's recommendation on the compliance.
The staff's recommendation?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Ms. Townsend to accept staff's recommendation as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to take a short break. We're almost done. We can breeze through this, but maybe if we take a 5-minute break, it's about 7 after now. If we can be back by quarter after at the latest. If you get back earlier, we'll start. Thank you.
Yes, there are privileges.
So Don, did you sell your property?
No, I can't remember if I
16 p.m., and we have 5 cases left. They include case numbers 21-82 CEB, 21-83 CEB, 21-84 CEB, 21-99 CEB, and 21-100 CEB. I'd like to suggest that we handle those as a consent agenda item as a group, and we can have a motion to approve those unless there's any discussion. We can move on that. Do you need the pages or any more info on those?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right. All right, motion by Ms. Hames, second by Mr. Peterson to accept those items that I just read into the record and approve those recommendations as noted in our agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Brings us, let me get back to the beginning of the agenda here. Goodness.
Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the what's March 24th minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Ms. Hames to approve those minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And let's see.
Next meeting is May 26th.
May 26th is our next meeting, and all that being said, do I have, is there any other business anyone on the board would like to discuss?
I think we need to welcome Ms. Townsend.
I'm sorry, you're right. I knew I was going to forget that once you walked in. Thank you.
I feel welcome.
I knew when I met
I
her.
was late. I thought they did that before I got here. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Lori. Anyway, Catherine Townsend, thank you. By the way, she's got a lot of experience when it comes to code enforcement boards and planning and zoning and that type of stuff. Got a little bit of a veto background. It's getting too close to black hammock there, Don. But anyways, thank you, and thank you for reminding me. Thank you for being part of us. Glad to have you here, too.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Anything else that I may have forgotten? No? Okay, then we'll go ahead and, do I need a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn, anyone?
So moved.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Second.
Ms. Townsend makes a motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Peterson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we will see you next time around.